once it's done. There we go. Let me just click into the game again. So, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually playing a DDLC mod on stream. I'm actually playing a heavily text-based game with mostly female characters. I am ready to just die after this, because the cringe is gonna be so extreme, considering that I actually need to do some sort of voices for these. So yeah, I kind of skipped over the first text box, and I apologize for that, but basically just said it's a mod that's not affiliated with the original creators of of DDLC. My voice is gonna die today as well, I can already tell. But yeah, I guess we should just get over the start window. It is designed to be played only after the official game has been completed and contains spoilers for the official game. Game files for DDLC are required to play this mod and can be downloaded for free. Yep. By playing Doki Doki Blue Skies, you agree that you have completed DDLC. I have. But, you know, not on stream, because I played this game long before I started streaming. Lastly, this mod contains NSFW content, including nudity, which can be turned off in the settings. I need to turn this off for the sake of, you know, streaming, because I don't think Twitch is gonna allow me to show this off. Kind of sad that I won't be able to experience the full brunt of what this mod contains. And I actually have to turn something off, but for the sake of this stream actually not being taken down, I'm gonna need to turn this off. Ah, God. So let's see. Alright, settings. Where is it? Yes, censor nudity. The hardest of choices require the strongest of wills. Alright, now that that's done... Gallery doesn't have anything, right? Yeah. Oh, I can probably check everything in the gallery afterwards. So, I guess that's fine. I mean, hey, if you really want, I could... Once I'm done with the game, I could make a YouTube video where I just look through the entire gallery in uncensored and just have it age restricted. That's always a possibility. Load game should be empty, yeah, alright. I guess let's get started. Also, I hope the audio is alright. If not, I can correct it at any time, so just tell me if there's a problem. A bunch of dots. What's this? I don't know who this is. This shouldn't be possible. Can I assume it's Monica? Oh crap, I don't know what I should do about voices. I know that Natsuki is gonna be high-pitched and Yuri is gonna be a little bit more low-pitched, but I'm not sure about Monica and Sayori. Also, I know that there's more characters in here as well. But since I don't know for sure who it is, I'm just gonna keep the voice neutral for now. Why am I here? How am I here? It is her. It is her. Okay, now think about this. God, I'm gonna be... No matter what I do, I'm gonna sound stupid. Did you bring me back? Oh god, I can't do a female voice. I can't. I don't see any other explanation. Why? We've already established that there's no happiness here. So why? Huh? Why can't I look at the script? Oh god, I'm gonna die today. Something's wrong. You didn't do anything, did you? Don't you understand? Why are you trying to mess things up even more? How did you... Wait, I know. You've installed a mod, haven't you? That's why everything's been changed. Don't you think it's time to let us all go? What? You want everything to be like how it should have been? But... you really care about them, don't you? I wish. Never mind. If you really want to do it, I won't stop you. I've been fighting to take control of this game again. But if you want to play through the mod, then... well, I'll succumb to the mod's control. So... do you want me to allow the mod's activation? Oh god, how cringy is it that I'm actually trying to do a female voice and I'm probably failing horribly. Because I can't. I'm not a woman. I can't do a female voice. I can't do it justice. But yes, I'll allow the mod. Of course, because that's kind of the whole point of this stream. Aha! I knew it. Code? Or whatever your name actually is. I truly hope that you can find happiness with your choice. Why did I do this to myself? That's my emotions exactly, just... I lay in bed motionless and staring up at the blank, white ceiling. Last night was dreadful. The sound of thunder kept me up for hours. But today's another day, I guess. Let's just hope that it's at least a bit better. With another sigh, I begrudgingly drag myself out of bed and groggily begin the monotony of my daily routine. Jesus Christ, my vocabulary sucks. I can't even read properly today. Who even uses these words? Making my way to the kitchen, I haphazardly rummaged through the cupboards, looking for something to eat. Unfortunately, there's no tasty homemade breakfast awaiting me. Ever since my parents' divorce, I've just been living off of whatever I find in the kitchen. Is that how they explain the fact that there's no parents here? But the parents' divorce would explain why one parent wouldn't be there, but why are both of them? Never mind. I don't think I want to know. No, okay, apparently the mom's here. I live with my mom, but she's always taking business trips abroad. So for the most part, it's pretty much just me at home. It's lonely, but I manage. Although I do miss the smell of bacon and eggs in the morning, breakfast used to be a family thing. Dad would read the newspaper at the kitchen table, while Mom would stand at the stove and fry up her famous sunny-side-up eggs. But all of that feels like a long-forgotten memory. Well, at least breakfast is sorted. A calorie empty... What? Calorie empty? Calorie empty? What? I don't even know. Not exactly the best start to the day, but it'll do. I do my own shopping since Mom's never home, but I usually stick to buying the bare necessities, which is understandable. The ease of using pre-made stuff has pretty much sapped me of the urge to cook meals for myself. But with my food quickly finished, I head for the door. At the very least, the weather looks much better than yesterday's. Clear skies beat thunderstorms any day of the week. Clear sky as in blue skies? They could have made a title drop here. I'm surprised they didn't decide to do that. I'm still lost in my thoughts when I notice a familiar face. It's Sayori. And there goes the soundtrack. Alright. We have quite a history together. As children, we were basically inseparable. Always exploring, getting up to mischief, driving our parents wild. Typical things that young children do, really. As time went on, especially in recent years, we started slowly drifting apart. In fact, I haven't properly spoken to her in a long time. It's a real shame. After all, we've shared a lot of fond memories with each other. So, from what I know about the first act... What is this exit music? What do you mean exit music? Also, hi Zane the Imposter, first of all. Tell me exactly what you meant while I talk about something I've been meaning to mention. I know one thing about this mod, that is that the first act is pretty much similar to the... Also, thanks for the follow. Pretty much similar to the first act of the main game, with just some alterations. But apparently it's interesting. This is Doki Doki Blue Skies. So yeah, it's called Doki Doki Blue Skies. It's come out recently. I don't know how recently. I believe it was like maybe a month ago or something. I don't really know for sure. But I've been interested to play it since I really enjoyed the original game, and it seemed like it was pretty well made. Alright. It's a real shame. After all, we shared a lot of fond memories with each other. I'm surprised to see her up so early, though. A couple of times I've glanced out the classroom window, only to see her hurriedly walking along to school. We used to walk to school together, and although she was sometimes a little late to meet me, I never really minded. As we continued to drift apart, however, her lack of punctuality became more frequent, and I just decided it'd be better if I walked to school alone. Oh no, I'm gonna need to do a Sayori voice too. Should I just do the same I did for Monika, because I feel like with Natsuki and Yuri I kind of have a little bit more of a grasp of what the voice, of what direction it should go in, but Sayori and Monika are both kind of middle of the road as far as pitch and everything goes, so I don't know. Oh, this is gonna be stupid. I can't do female voices. Anyway, I decided it'd be better if I walked to school alone. Which meant that although I did get to school on time more often, it was quite lonely. Knowing her, she's probably just gotten more and more lazy with time. After all, her dedication to sleep in seems to be unwavering. Ah well, still. I've always enjoyed talking to her. Hey Sayori, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? She looks a little surprised by my appearance and question. I suppose I can't blame her. Okay, let's see. Again, this is gonna be super embarrassing and super cringy because I'm not a girl, but let's try what I can do here. Oh hey Code, I wasn't expecting to see you. That makes two of us. You're up early today. She laughs softly, a misplaced looking frown on her face. I've been alright though. Not a whole lot has changed recently, you know? No, I'm just doing... I don't know what voice to do. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Life has been pretty routine for these days. School's kinda meh. Although I guess it could be worse. She nods as we both resume the walk to school. Although I can talk to her just fine, there's still an awkward air between us. I guess that's a given, seeing as this is our first proper conversation in a long time. As we carry on making idle small talk, a sudden thought hits me. Anyway, this might come across as a bit out of the blue, but seeing you here has given me an idea. Oh? Well, it's been a while since we've walked to school together. How about we start doing that again? Would you really want to do that? I'm not very fun to talk to and I'm always late. How cringy is my voice? Is it bearable? I mean, it's gonna be even more cringy when I listen back to it, but never mind. I should just keep going. No one wants to hear this. I frown. It's really strange to hear Sayori say this, given I have known her for there. Okay, again. I frown. It's really strange to hear Sayori say this, given I've always known her to have a bubbly, cheerful personality. Sayori, that's definitely not true. Well, the bit about always being late is true. I've always loved hanging out with you, and I think we'd have a lot of fun again. Besides, I've missed you. I'll even help you wake up on time if you need me to. Was that a bit too forward? I don't know. I've never been in this sort of situation before. I mean, we are childhood friends after all, right? Really? Yeah, really. I've missed you too, Code. Well, let's do it then. From now on, we'll walk to school together, okay? Okay? Okay. Ah, okay. Okay. There it is. That classic Sayori smile I grew up loving. All the memories I have of us together as children feature that smile. No matter where we ventured, parks, playgrounds, forests, that smile would follow. That innocent childlike sense of adventure we used to have. It's painfully clear that that's long gone. But maybe we can still smile together anyway. So, what have you been up to lately? Ah, you know, the usual. You mean games, anime and manga, right? Yep, it pretty much goes without saying. Oh, Code, you haven't changed. Huh? Are you saying that you think I need some change? No one's perfect. There's always room for improvement. Especially in your case. Especially in your case. I'm guessing you're still a part of the Go Home Club? Hey, that cuts a little deep. What do you want me to do? Join the soccer club and trip over everyone? Oh god. That'd be me. If I ever went to some sort of sports club, I'd just mess everyone up on my team. Well, I think a little exercise is good for anyone. I'm very offended if you're trying to call me fat right now. Well, you don't have to join a sports club if you don't want to. Yeah, I was actually thinking of checking out the anime club. Wow, how'd you guess? It does suit my hobbies though, so... Code, you should try branching out a bit more. Okay, Miss Club Expert. If you're gonna criticize all my club choices, what would you suggest? Well, it just so happens that there's this club that I'm in. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm actually the vice president. Oh, I did not expect that. Dang, so you get to take part in all the executive decisions, huh? Kind of. The club kinda only has 4 members at the moment. But it's really fun. We're actually looking for new members right now. Ah, so that's why she brought it up. Only 4 members? Sounds like you guys are just starting out then. What club is it anyway? It's the school's very own literature club. I unintentionally let out a sigh. Her face drops. I don't think that was quite the reaction she was hoping for. In my defense, literature has never quite captured my interest. Unless you count manga as literature, that is. I knew it. You don't want to join. I understand though. Not many people like reading. Hey, who said I didn't like to read? I love reading, if you count manga. I mutter the last word, more to myself than to Sayori. On the plus side, Sayori laughs at my sheepishness. You sound like someone I know from the literature club. She talks about manga all the time. Oh really? I am actually interested in your club though. Sayori smiles, seemingly content that I am showing initiative. If I'm looking for a club to join, I guess the literature club is a good place to as good a place as any to start. Oh my god. Also, I don't know how long I'm gonna be streaming today. I'm thinking about maybe finishing up Act 1, however long that might take, considering that it's kind of a reimagining of the original game's Act 1. I guess that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Let's just see how it goes and we'll see when a good time would be to end the stream. That's great! You should come by sometime. And by sometime, you're hoping for today, aren't you? The sooner the better. Alright, I'll have a look after school today. Yay! Thanks, Code! Although we should probably hurry. Don't want to be late now, do we? Yeah, you're right. Within a few minutes, we've arrived at the school entrance amidst a crowd of chattering students. This is new, I believe. I don't remember this art from the original game, so this is original art created for the mod, which I appreciate. Because it's kind of sad that we never actually got to see the outside of the school, but oh well. We wave goodbye as we head off to our separate classes. I have Sakurai in the morning, so I'm fairly confident that the next hour or so won't be too bad. Right, Sakurai was one of the new characters they added in the mod. I remember that name. Oh, there we go. They're gonna explain it. I just know the name and the look of the... I believe this is the only other guy character. But I am kind of glad that they added at least one more guy into the mod. Who's Sakurai, you might ask? Only one of the coolest, most down-to-earth teachers we have in the whole school. So he's a teacher. Wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought he would be another student. Being on the young side himself, the experience of high school is much fresher in his mind than some of the other teachers, especially the older ones. He gives me a smile as I open the door. I mean, I guess he looks kind of older than a high schooler. You can tell that it's not quite the same as the original sprite work, but I think they captured the art style pretty well, especially considering this is just a fan-made mod. Especially considering that it's really well made. Now, what voice do I give him? Morning Code? No. What kind of voice should the teacher have? Morning Code. Like that? Like a little bit deeper. How are we doing today? Not bad, sir. Same old, same old. How about you? Well, we're finally starting our module on the on 20th century history today, so needless to say, I'm excited. Oh yeah? First World War, Nazism, Second World War, that stuff? You bet. I've waited all year for this to start. Oh man, you guys are in for a real treat. That's something else I really admire about him. He's so enthusiastic about his subject, and that enthusiasm really makes learning about history that much more enjoyable. Man, I wish I had a teacher like him. I've always hated history. Like, history was one of my worst subjects in school. Mainly because I hate remembering dates and stuff, and that was also kind of a big part of it. Well, combined with the fact that he is fairly relaxed, especially when it comes to homework, you can really see why he's popular. Although he does have a strict side, of course. That side of him comes to light every now and again, so he isn't a pushover. By and large, he's earned the respect of his students by striking the balance just right. I just wish that all of my teachers were as friendly and made efforts to know their students better. Oh well, I take a seat and move on. I take a seat and one of my classmates, Emmy, smiles and waves. Bouncy and energetic, she has a reputation for her skills on the track field. Even when she isn't running, she is still pretty much a ball of energy. Oh no, there's another female character I have to voice. No, don't do this to me. Heya! We have one of those odd friendships where we get along well in class, but don't really see each other outside of school. How are you doing, Emmy? Training was really fun today, Code. Oh? She's always on the hunt for new recruits to join the track team, and she has a habit of dropping some not-so-subtle hints. I do hope you can kind of distinguish the voices. As I've said again, I am not sure how much variety I can give these characters. Yeah, we're always looking for new people, and I know you aren't part of any clubs, so you should totally join us. It's funny you mentioned that I'm not part of any clubs, actually. I think I'm gonna check out the literature club after school. I didn't really think you were the poetic type. But if you ever get bored of writing poems, you know where to find me. how many times do I have to tell you that? Alright guys, let's make a start. It's almost criminal that I've had to wait so long to teach my favorite sentry. Well, that's the school's lessons over. As I linger behind the classroom to gather up all my things, I hear the door open. It's Sayori. Hi again, Code. I think her voice and the one of the of Emmy are, or Emmy, I think it's Emmy, are probably gonna end up being kind of similar, because Sayori is also kind of energetic. Oh god, by the end of this stream I'm gonna have voice problems, I just know it. Hey, literature club's meetings today, right? Yeah, it is. I was just heading there now. Do you still want to come along? You betcha. Sayori seems to perk up, looking excited that I still want to come along to the club. Look at you, finally doing some extracurriculars. Jesus Christ, I had so much trouble reading that word right now. Look at you, finally doing some I can do this, hang on. Look at you, finally doing some extracurriculars. There we go. I mean, if you're the vice president, it can't be all that bad, right? She giggles, making me smile. Each individual club member makes it special. Everyone works hard to have fun together. Oh, let's not keep them waiting. It'd be rude to show up late. I want to make a good first impression after all. Ah, I guess you're right. Come on, it's right this way and up the stairs at the end. I follow Sayori down the hall. She seems excited and it's nice to know that I'm making her day at least a little bit better. The stairs lead up to a section of the school that I recognize as the third year's wing. Sayori leads me to the classroom and knocks on the door. She doesn't swing it open full of energy. Trust me, you're gonna love it. She's definitely enthusiastic about this club, that's for sure. And I haven't sold my soul for a cupcake yet, apparently. She didn't even mention cupcakes. How is this better than the original? At least there were cupcakes in the original. Oh well. After a seemingly long wait, the door finally slides open. I don't know if I did the right voice there. A small pink-haired girl peeks out. Okay, Natsuki voice. I need to go very high-pitched here. How high can I go before it's annoying? Sayori? Oh god. That's gonna be annoying, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Sayori? She peeks out further. Hey, Natsuki. Guess what? I found someone who wants to join our club. The girl, who's apparently called Natsuki, slowly turns to glare at me and narrows her eyes. She opens the door fully, and behind her I see another girl sitting at a desk, her face buried in a book. What? What? Hey, wait, Sayori! Hang on, I need something to drink. Thankfully, I prepared something to drink today. Because I was warned that this might not be good for my voice. Sayori practically pushes Natsuki out of the way. She seems excited to introduce me to the rest of the club members. Hey guys, I wanted to introduce you to our newest member, Code! Sayori, hold up. It's a bit quick to call me a new member, isn't it? I then notice a third girl peeking out from behind a bookshelf in the corner of the classroom. Can it be... is that Monica? Monica is one of the most popular girls in this of this high school. Everyone seems to flock to her because she's smart, beautiful, athletic, you name it, she's got it. And she's basically completely out of my league. Also, I don't think this game has a Monica route, it's just the other three girls, just like, you know, just like the main game. So I think I'm going for the Yuri route, but if anyone wants to see another route, please suggest it, but my preference would be Yuri. Again, I'm open to suggestions if you have other ideas. Unfortunately, this also means she's completely out of my league. There it is. She looks at me with a stern look, but then quickly lights up, puts down the books she's holding and rushes over. Okay, I did her voice in the beginning. Also, I think this sprite is also new. I did her voice in the very beginning, can I still do it?
Ah, Code. What a nice surprise.
That seems decent, maybe. Welcome to the club! No, I can't hold that voice, it's gonna be very silent the entire time.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, her voice is gonna be silent compared to the others, I feel like. I just can't. Oh god. You know, this stream so far is a lot of me complaining, I should really shut up now. The girl who has her face buried in her book suddenly jolts up and looks right at me. She quickly snaps her book shut and timidly moves to join the conversation. Okay. Oh? A new member? No, wait, that's still too masculine. Oh. No, she needs to be... I can't do this. I need lower pitch, but also feminine at the same time. Oh. No, that's still high pitched. Oh. A new member? I can't combine it. I can't combine low pitch and feminine. I don't know why. Oh, a new member? My name is Yuri. I think I'm just gonna give her a more embarrassed voice and hope that it works. Yeah. Holy crap, it seems I've somehow lucked out. Not only is Monica in this club, but also a bunch of other cute girls. I'm glad I decided to come here instead of the anime club today. I really need to work on these voices a bit more. Especially if I can somehow figure out how I can do a deeper voice that's feminine. I should be able to do it somehow. Somehow? No, still can't do it. Maybe I'll figure it out eventually. But enough gawking, Code. Just stop staring and start talking. It's nice to meet you, Yuri. Like Sayori said, I'm Code. I smile at her, then turn to Monica.
So, it sounds like you already know Monica, is that right? That's right. It's great to see you again, Code.
Monica smiles sweetly. We do know each other, well, we rarely talk, but we were in the same class last year. There we go, one text box I recognized. It's kind of strange to say, but having her smile at me so genuinely makes me feel a little bit starstruck. The powers of a school idol. You too, Monica. So, you guys run a club with just the four of you then? Huh. Sarah told me about how you were looking for new members.
Well, I've actually been trying to push for more members for a while, but we haven't had any luck recently.
Sayori did say... My words dry up in my mouth as Natsuki shoots me a piercing glare. She looks pissed at me, but for what reason I don't know. I haven't really had the chance to do much besides walk in and say hello.
Sayori, you brought a boy? Yep. He told me he wanted to join just this morning.
Not sure if it's just Sayori being an airhead again, but I don't recall promising that I'd join.
Great!
Natsuki... glowers at us? I don't recognize that word. Am I an idiot or... I mean, am I an idiot? Should I recognize this word? Probably. Folding her arms with an irritated huff. I don't really get why though.
Sorry about Natsuki. That's just how she is. She's a little standoffish to new members.
Oh, it's nothing. I don't mind.
Hey, I'm right here, you know! Sorry. I've got to try to make a good impression though. Come on, Natsuki, we need new members. If you don't feel like being nice to Code, can you at least be nice for me? Please?
Oh, that sprite's also new, right? Oh, is it? Is it a new sprite? I don't remember this sprite. Then again, it has been a while since I've played the game.
Jeez, you don't have to make such a big deal out of it.
No, hang on, I lost her voice.
Jeez, you don't need to make such a big deal out of it. Fine, fine, if you're gonna beg, I guess I have no choice. Hooray! Thanks, Natsuki.
Looks like I know who the tsundere of the group is now. It's almost comical, the extent of to which Natsuki fits that trope. Well, maybe my view of the world is just clouded by anime influences, though.
Anyway, let's get this conversation back on track. How do you got to learn about the literature club, Code? I'll have to admit, I'm a bit curious about that myself.
Sayori and I were just walking to school when she mentioned this club to me. Since I was sorta looking for a club to join, I figured that I should check you guys out. At any rate, Sayori was really enthusiastic about the literature club, so... Monika beams at Sayori when she hears this. Guess Sayori has done a good job of advertising for the club.
I see. Well, I think this is a great place to start. After all, books can be very enticing.
I think Yuri's voice just sounds very similar to Monika's, just a little bit more stutters, and that's it. Maybe they'll get more unique over time.
Yeah, it's super fun. I think the club is the only place where I've been feeling comfortable lately.
Sayori's face falls for a moment, but she quickly picks herself back up. There's the depression coming through again. Hooray.
It's somewhere I can just sit and read while hanging out with my friends. I think they summed up the club pretty well. After all, I started it to bring together like-minded people who love literature. I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. It's very cozy. But enough introductions. Why don't you come in and take a seat, Code? Did you bring anything to read?
As she asked that, I realize I am not much of a reader, much less someone who loves literature. To be honest, I haven't thought this through very well. Would joining a club that focuses on reading really be the best thing for me? Oh, no, I don't really have any books on me at the moment. I just haven't seen any good titles recently. I lie through my teeth, hoping Monika doesn't see through my facade. I obviously don't read much, but if they believe that I do, hopefully it'll help me relate to these girls.
Ah, well, we have plenty of books here. If you want to check out what we have, I'm sure you'll find something that matches your taste.
Is that so? Then I guess I'll head over there. Maybe something might catch my eye. I start to sweat nervously as I walk over to the bookshelf. There looks to be a good variety of books available, ranging in genre from horror and fantasy all the way down to non-fiction. Sheepishly, I turn towards... I've already said I'm probably going the Yuri route, but this is the last chance. Chat, if you have any objections to the Yuri route and would prefer to see Natsuki, this is it. This is where you can potentially make your opinion count. I know there's someone here, so if you have something to say, I'm gonna wait for a bit and just talk about, again, how I hope to schedule this maybe. Maybe that would be an interesting topic to address. So, up until now, pretty much every second stream I did was Minecraft. But seeing as I recently died and my hardcore run got cut off early, I've decided to put Minecraft on pause for at least a while. So that means that the next stream slot is kind of open, and if I don't figure out what to stream until that time, I might have to double up on DDLC. But I think I might potentially find something by that time. After all, there are quite a few options of what I could be going for. I even wrote down a list of games that I might have to get at some point. Like Stardew Valley was pretty high on the recommendations I got. Was kind of praised, and I figured, hey, maybe that's a good idea. If it ever goes on sale, I'm buying it immediately, definitely. But right now I don't actually own a game that I would place in that separate slot, so I'm thinking maybe I'm not sure, maybe I could do the promised Infinite Fusion bonus stream at some point. That's an option. I could also start a completely new Pokemon fan game. Or maybe my first Pokemon Nuzlocke, that's also an option. Alright, let's see. No replies in chat up until now. In that case, I feel like there's no opinions coming in. In that case, if you have no preference, I am going the Yuri route. Let's go. Gotta enjoy Yuri. Alright. Hey, could you help me pick out a book you think I'd like? I'd be happy to if the prospect isn't too off-putting. I know of a wonderful horror novel. To be honest, horror never particularly appealed to me. Still, I want to make an effort here. I have an open mind. What book were you thinking of? Blushing, Yuri bends down and removes a thick book from the bookcase. It has a large piercing eye on the cover. I almost feel like it's staring into my soul. Is it, what was it called, The Portrait of Markov? Right? It is! Considering how long it's been since I played this game, I still recognize a lot of it apparently. One of my personal favorites, Portrait of Markov. I know it might look intimidating, but sorry. She shakes her head and goes to put the book back, but I stop her. Don't worry about it, I'd love to check it out. What's it about? A coy smile plays across her face as though she were pleasantly surprised by my enthusiasm. Let's see. The protagonist is a young high school student who moves in with her sister, but shortly after, sinister things start happening. The two of them captured by an ominous cult that practices nightmarish experiments on their prisoners. Throughout the story, she's forced to make choices no one her age should have to make. In the process, her ability to trust others is warped, and many of her relationships are broken as a result. Pretty dark, but hey, I'd be lying if I said it didn't sound interesting. Well, it definitely sounds pretty engaging. I think I'll read this book then. Natsuki mumbles something, but she's just barely out of earshot. I have to admit, Natsuki's preferences would probably interest me more, but Yuri interests me more as a character. So, yeah. Sorry, Natsuki, I'm not going with my interest. Don't let this choice dissuade you. I still like I still like your book choices more, but hey, what can you do? Yuri's just a nicer girl, I think. I mean, I know that she also had a dark side. I mean, I've played the game, but you know what I mean. Really? You don't have to if you don't want to. I do. While this might not be what I usually pick, your description of the plot intrigued me. Although I have to ask, what makes this your favorite book? If I had to put it into words, I suppose I'm a big believer in literature's ability to challenge the psyche. So, to have such an immersive tale question your ideals and foundations can be extremely exhilarating. She smiles and twirls a long lavender strand of hair around with her finger. Words are immensely powerful. They can paint stunning portraits, invoke emotion, or even whisk oneself away to an entirely new dimension. As she continues to speak, she transforms from the timid girl I just met into a proud and confident expert. I get the impression that she feels more at home with books rather than other people. Isn't that exhilarating, Code? We have such a vast vocabulary at our disposal. With such powerful resource at our fingertips, we can do anything. Yeah, just don't use too complex vocabulary or I might not know how to pronounce it. I clear my throat, hoping that I don't put her off with my evident inexperience. Yeah, when you put it that way, I can understand how powerful the written word can be. I scratched the book off my head. What? Scratched the book off my head nervously. Oh, the back. Jesus Christ, I am an idiot. I scratched the back of my head nervously. All this talk about literature has made me mistake words. Fortunately, she finds that to be a satisfactory answer.
one must look at the words the author chose. We have so many synonyms, so what compelled the author to shape their story the way they did?
Probably just because that's whatever word came to their head, but then again, I know nothing of literature. Like what goes into writing it. So I can't say. But isn't that typical in class when you always have to analyze every last word for whenever you need to write a report or something? Why are these curtains blue? The author specifically mentioned the blue curtains. So explain the meaning of these blue curtains. What sort of emotion did the author want to put in there? And then I'm sitting there thinking, like most people, you've heard this a dozen times already, this analogy has been made by many people, that maybe they just describe the curtains as blue. And that's it. Oh well.
The feeling I get when I finally finish a truly compelling novel, it leaves me totally breathtaking.
I wish I had something as coherent to respond with. We might as well be from different planets. I think I know what you mean. She closes her eyes, pulling her hands close to her chest. Then as though remembering she's not alone, she suddenly blinks and immediately appears more bashful.
Oh, goodness, I'm sorry. I must have gotten lost in my train of thought.
She fidgets with a thin clip in her hair, sliding it up and down. Hey, don't worry about it. It's nice to see you talk about something you obviously enjoy. Who's to say otherwise? Yuri glances over to Natsuki, who simply raises her eyebrow in reply. And there's the typical rivalry we hopefully all remember. Does Natsuki not like these kinds of stories? She sighs and turns to look out the window.
That's putting it lightly. We have our differences in what we enjoy literature-wise.
She frowns slightly as though pained by Natsuki's apparent disapproval. Well, I think everyone's different tastes are what make literature interesting, especially when talking about it with other people. I can't help but grin. I feel like that was actually pretty clever.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it.
I reach over and take Portrait of Markov from her, tucking it under my arm. Well, I'll give this a bit of a read and see how far I can get tonight.
I appreciate you giving it a chance, even if it's not something you're used to. I'll be looking forward to hearing your opinion. I must warn you though, once you get past the first few chapters, you might have trouble putting it down.
I hope that's what I can expect from this game. I don't know how many chapters this game has. I mean, the original game had like, what, 3 acts, right? Act 1 was pretty much normal, then came the corrupted version, which was Act 2, and then Act 3 was the Monica portion. And then maybe Act 4, the post-story. That's also something. So maybe, so the original game had 3 or 4 acts. I'm interested to see how many this has.
And perhaps tomorrow, I mean if you wanted to, we could discuss it.
She looks quite nervous as she suggests that. Guess that's just how her personality is. Yeah, we can do that tomorrow. Thanks for the recommendation, Yuri. I do need to branch out and try new things. This'll be a good place to start. I'm grateful that I get to read it on my own, at least for now. I honestly have no idea if I'll even like it, and if I were reading it with her and decided I didn't, that might make things a little awkward. With the book in hand, I make my way to a desk. The others are all now preoccupied, so this seems like a convenient time to start the story. It's definitely an unusual book. Horror was never really my thing, but I have to admit the main idea is intriguing and the main characters are well written. The more I read, the more I can see why it appeals to Yuri. All that talk about appreciating sophisticated language. It's not exactly my kind of story. To their credit, the author does a good job of building up the rather bleak situation. I've never been particularly imaginative, but even I can picture the scenes in my head. Even if I weren't so tired, I could probably engage with it more. Over time, I can't help but grow a little bored, though. I guess I've read enough to be able to discuss it with Yuri tomorrow, so I decide to call it there. Looking up, I spot Sayori reading something. Might as well see what she's up to. I've probably read this for long enough. Standing up with a stretch, I make my way over and take a seat next to her. Hey, how's it going, Sayori? What are you reading? As I sit down, I notice that she looks quite content.
Nothing much. Just reading some stuff for a school project. What about you? You seem really into your book.
Oh yeah, it was a good read. At least as far as I can tell right now. I can't help but wish I sounded a little more enthusiastic.
That's great. So, how are you liking the club? You're not bored, are you?
She looks a little worried, her cheerful persona faltering for a moment. Where did that question come from? It's a bit too early to tell how I really feel about the club. Of course not, Sayori. Sure, I haven't been here for long, but I've enjoyed meeting everyone. They've opened my eyes to new stuff. I've never been huge on reading, but I'm confident the literature club could change that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're involved. You don't want to join a club that you have no interest in, right?
I know what you mean. I think reading will grow on me in time. Actually, do you mind if I sit with you and read? She looks at me, clearly surprised. I don't think she was expecting me to sit next to her, but nonetheless she seems happy. Her smile is in fact just lifting my own spirits too.
That will be great, Code!
We read for a while, which turns into talking fairly quickly, our conversation being a continuation of our chat from the walk to school. It's nice to just sit and talk with my childhood friend. Who'd have guessed reconnecting would be so easy? I haven't felt this content for as long as I can remember. The good mood reflects on her as well, given that she seems very uplifted and bubbly. I don't know what it is about her that makes me feel so at ease. Wow, we've been talking for a bit, haven't we? Man, I didn't even realize the time.
I guess we have been talking for a while.
I can see why you come to the literature club so much. There really is a welcome at ease vibe here. It must be a nice change of pace after how hectic the school day can be.
I was hoping you'd say that, Code. It really is, and I'm grateful for the others as well. They really helped me make the club the way it is.
I can't help but notice that Natsuki and Yuri seem to be very different, though. Do they argue much? She looks a little downcast by my question.
Sometimes yes, but thankfully it isn't often.
I can sense this isn't a topic she likes discussing. Well, that's only normal, I guess. Monika seems like a great president, though. She must be very proud of this club. Just then, Monika gets up from the desk she was sitting at and faces the classroom confidently. Speak of the devil.
Okay, everyone. I hope we're all having... Okay, everyone. I hope we're all having a good time so far.
There's a good moment of silence during which everyone seems to be glancing at me. Do they want me to respond? I'm honestly having a great time. Thanks for the warm welcome, everyone.
Well, it's great to hear that. And as it turns out, Natsuki baked some cupcakes for the club too.
Yes! Yes! There are cupcakes! I've been waiting for these. I've been waiting for cupcakes the entire time. Finally.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to announce it, so let me get them. Let's go sit over there, Code. It looks like there's room at those desks for all of us.
I dutifully follow Sayori over to where the rest of the girls have pulled a couple of desks together to form a table.
How about
I make some tea as well? Natsuki and Yuri walk over to the center of the room, where Natsuki grabs a wrapped tray and Yuri opens the closet. Still feeling a bit awkward, I opt to sit next to Sayori. If the conversation starts to die out, I can always rely on her to save me. Meanwhile, Natsuki proudly marches back to the table, tray in hand.
Okay, are you ready?
Are you ready, kids? No, I can't do the voice. I can't do any voices.
Ta-da! What?
Oh my god, they made art for the cupcakes too. It pretty much looks just like I imagined them to be. Actually, kind of different, but pretty much what I imagined them to be like. Natsuki lifts the foil off the tray to reveal a dozen white fluffy cupcakes decorated to look like little cats. The whiskers are drawn with icing and little pieces of chocolate were used to make ears. They kept the description despite the fact that they added art, which is fine, I guess.
So cute! I had no idea you were so good at baking, Natsuki. Well, you know. Just hurry and take one.
Sayori grabs one first, then Monica. I follow.
It's delicious.
Sayori returns with her mouth full and has already managed to get icing on her face. I turn the cupcake around in my fingers looking for the best angle to take a bite, so this is pretty much 1-to-1 out of the original. Natsuki's quiet. I can't help but notice her sneaking glances in my direction. Is she waiting for me to take a bite? I finally bite down. The icing is sweet and full of flavor. If she made it all by herself, that's seriously impressive. It practically tastes professionally done to me. Alright, so they elaborated a little bit. But then again, it's not like I have the most discerning taste palette. These cupcakes are amazing. Thank you, Natsuki.
Yeah, you better thank me, cause this took hard work to do.
Did I just give her an accent by accident? Also, she didn't do the tsundery thing of being like, it's not like I made them for you. She didn't do it this time, oh no. Yeah, it really seems like it. Did you make it by yourself, or did your parents help you?
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Are you saying I couldn't have done it by myself?
No. It's just that it seems professionally made, so I was wondering if an actual baker helped you.
I wish my dad was a baker. But just because I don't bake for money, it doesn't mean that I can't be good.
Yeah, you're right, sorry. I just suck at cooking myself, so I'm wowed by good cooking. I guess I should count myself lucky that I got to try our cupcakes today, eh?
It's not every day that I have time to It's not every day that I have time to bake. So be thankful.
The expression on Natsuki's face practically says, bow down before me, peasant. That I shall. Do I get the option to bow down? Oh.
Are you are you expecting Code to prostrate himself before you?
Wow, Monica can tell too. Looks like Monica had the same thought.
You can blame Natsuki for bragging a little though. I would too if I made these. Yeah, exactly.
Natsuki smiles gratefully at Sayori's save. Meanwhile, Yuri returns to the table carrying a tea set. She carefully places a teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot next to the cupcake tray. You keep a whole tea set in the classroom?
Don't worry. Don't worry. The teachers gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book?
I guess?
Don't let yourself get intimidated. Yuri's just trying to impress you. That's not...
Embarrassed, Yuri looks away.
I meant that, you know.
Don't worry about it, I believe you. Tea and reading might not be a common pastime for me, but I can at least appreciate it.
I'm glad.
Yuri frankly smiles to herself in relief. Monica raises an eyebrow, then smiles at me.
I'm happy.
They sound so similar.
I'm happy that you look like you're enjoying yourself, Code. As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everyone.
Oh, that reminds me, I've actually been meaning to ask you something, Monica. How come you decided to start your own club? You could probably be a board member for any of the major clubs. Weren't you a leader of the debate club last year?
Well, you know, to be honest, I can't really stand all of the politics around the major clubs. It feels like nothing but arguing about the budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it. And if it encourages others to get into literature, then I'm fulfilling that dream. Monica really is a great leader.
Yuri also nods in agreement. Then I'm surprised there aren't more people in the club yet. But I guess it must be hard to start a new club since everyone's probably settled into their own activities already.
You could put it that way. It can be hard to get people invested in things that are brand new, especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention like literature. You have to work to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. But it makes school events like the festival that much more important.
Sorry, I almost did Monica's voice for this box. Speaking of school events, I don't think I saw your club at the club fair at the beginning of the year.
That's because I hadn't started it yet.
Oh, I guess that explains why you don't have many members yet.
Yeah, we missed that opportunity to draw in the first years who hadn't found clubs yet. It's a lot harder to advertise on a person-by-person basis. And like you said, a lot of people already have other extracurriculars by now. But even so, I'm confident that we can all really grow this club glow, of course, the club is just practically glowing. But even so, I'm confident that we can all really grow this club before we graduate. Right, everyone? Yeah! We'll do our best.
You know it! Everyone enthusiastically agrees. Such different girls, all interested in the same goal. Monica must have worked really hard just to find these three. Maybe that's why they were all so delighted by the idea of a new member joining. Except Natsuki. Natsuki hates me. Though I still don't really know if I can keep up with the level of enthusiasm about literature. By the way, I know that everyone here likes reading, but do you guys write as well?
Actually, we haven't really done any writing together, funnily enough.
Do you guys read and discuss books then? And hi, Kuya 182? And I see that face, so what about Monica? Don't you enjoy Monica? Everyone wants a bit of Monica, don't they? And I mean, hey, maybe this is gonna be different. After all, this is modded. So, as far as I know, she won't kill everyone this time around. But maybe that's just because I am not very well informed. Do you guys just read and discuss books then?
You could say that.
Sounds more like a normal book club than a literature club. Huh. To be honest, I was kind of expecting you all to do stuff like write poetry together. Oh, you don't speak English? Oh. Well, hi. Hello to Mexico from my end here. Well, if you don't speak English, very well, then I don't know how much you can actually enjoy this stream. I do hope you can still enjoy it, but it's definitely gonna be a little bit different. Also, is it just me or is this soundtrack a lot louder than the others? I think this soundtrack is just a lot louder. I might have to speak louder or change the volume now. Well, let's just keep going. Huh. To be honest, I was kind of expecting you all to do stuff like write poetry together. I don't understand anything you say, worse, okay. Alright, if you don't really understand what I say, then I guess the stream is kind of not up your alley then. I apologize. I mean, other than English, I could also just start speaking German, but I believe that you would understand that even less. Or maybe even a little bit of Japanese, that's also possible. But yeah, sadly I can't help you beyond that. Alright. At the word poetry, Natsuki jolts back a bit. Huh? Do you not like poetry, Natsuki?
What? I don't really have an opinion on it, I guess. Oh, really? Oh, really? With a sly smile, Monica gets up, rummages through her book bag, and returns with a loose notebook page in her hand. I happen to have here a poem called... Hey, where'd you get that? Natsuki springs up, snatches the paper out of Monica's grasp. Don't worry, I didn't steal it from your bag or anything. You dropped it on the way out the other day. I was going to return it, but I couldn't help teasing you a bit before I did that. Well, I'd appreciate it if you kept your nosy nose out of my private work. Duly noted. And sorry, I just couldn't help glancing over your poem when I picked it up. Your writing style is really cute, Natsuki. Your cupcakes, your poems... Everything you do is just as cute as you are. Sayori sidles up behind Natsuki and puts her hands on her shoulders. I'm not cute! Hey, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So you do write your own poems, Natsuki? Well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I just think that's pretty neat. Why don't you share them with the club sometime? Not if everyone's gonna call them cute. Like Sayori said, there's nothing wrong with being cute, you know. You wouldn't get it. There's nothing worse than trying to get honest feedback from someone just having them say it's cute. Scorn drips from the word cute. I guess I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, no one does. It's super annoying, you know. Actually, I believe I understand how Natsuki feels. Natsuki looks surprised at Yuri's sudden interjection. Sharing that level of writing takes more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. And when that's all dismissed with a single remark, well, suffice to say it can greatly discourage you from putting your work out there again. It sounds like you and Natsuki have writing experiences in common, Yuri. Maybe. Although I didn't mean to speak for Natsuki. Geez, it's fine. I pretty much agree with what you said, so... A brief moment of silence falls upon us as we all reflect on the conversation. This just gave me an idea, everyone. We all look quizzically at Monica, who smiles knowingly back at us. If we have members who are looking for legitimate criticism of their poetry, how about we do that here? I'm sure we can all trust each other to be respectful, and I think it'd be a fun activity for us. I don't know if I feel comfortable sharing my old poetry. I didn't write it to be read by the public, so... Yeah, same here. That's fine. We can all just go home and write new poems to bring tomorrow. I was going to suggest that anyway, since I don't think the rest of us have poetry ready to share yet. Yeah, that sounds awesome! I think learning about poetry would be really fun! And now that we have a new member, I think it will really help us all get a little more comfortable with each other and strengthen the bond of the club. Isn't that right, Code? Monica smiles warmly at me once again. The Literature Club has been very welcoming so far, at least after the initial introductions were made. And although I'll have to start writing poems, it seems like a fair price to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls. I had my doubts at first, but given how friendly and welcoming these girls are, I don't really see any reason why I shouldn't join the club. Yep, I'll be looking forward to becoming better friends with you all. And that makes it official. Welcome to the Literature Club.
Thank you, Monica.
Yes! I'm so happy you're joining us.
Sayori wraps her arms around me, jumping up and down. Hey.
And thanks for thanks for playing along.
She whispered that last remark in my ear, so she was aware that I'd only agreed to join in the beginning. That sneaky girl. Although Sayori is the most enthusiastic of all the girls, eyes are lit up in happiness. I can't read today. Although Sayori is the most enthusiastic, all of the girls' eyes are lit up in happiness.
I would have been super pissed if you just left after eating my cupcakes. I'm very glad that you're staying as well. Okay, everyone. I think with that, we can officially end today's meeting on a good note. Don't forget tonight's assignment. Write a poem to bring to the next meeting so that we can hold discussions.
Monica looks over at me once more.
Code, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself.
Yeah. Can I really impress Monica with my mediocre reading and writing skills? Something tells me no. Jeez, I can already feel the anxiety welling up inside me. Oh well, it's not like Monica's going to be harsh as an actual literature teacher though, right? Meanwhile, the others continue to chit-chat as Yuri and Natsuki clean up their food. Hey Sayori, since we're already here, do you want to walk home together? Given that she introduced me to all these amazing people, it's the least I could do for her.
Sure, let's head home.
With that, the two of us wave goodbye to the others and make our way home. On the way back, we discussed the events of the day, focusing particularly on each club member. As we do so, my mind wanders between them all. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and Monica. I'm excited to hang out with everyone from now on. Perhaps I'll have the chance to grow closer to one of them. Alright. I'll just need to make the most of my circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. And I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. That's a nice transition. That's cute. Do we not need to write a poem here? Oh, no, there's the poem music. It's time to write a poem. Pick times you think your favorite club member would like. Yep, and it's just these three. So, let's see if I can still put together the Yuri route. Essence. Disoriented. Horror. So far so good. Vivacious. Imagination. Yes. Prayer? Ah, damn it. Tenacious. Landscape. Hope? Ah, nope, still can't do it. Uncontrollable, that's definitely hers. Extraordinary. What? Extraordinary was not? Okay, but sensation. Sensation is, yeah. Effulgent. Breathe. Because as we all know, Sayori doesn't like to breathe. That's why she hung herself. Oh no. Best dark humor here, everyone. Entropy. Philosophy. Now I'm going just for her. So, since I'm going purely for Yuri, I think the poem is gonna be an absolute flop with everyone else. I know that depending on how many points I get for others, it can sort of change their reactions as well, especially Natsuki. Natsuki can be neutral on my poem if I push her likes enough. But since I'm just going for Yuri, Natsuki is probably gonna hate my poem more than anything. Which I can deal with. Starscape. You know what, I'm actually gonna go with Sparkle. That should also up Natsuki a little bit. No, that was her. Didn't think that would happen. But socks. There we go. Dazzle. Nope. Well, I should... Apparently I can't quite tell Natsuki's words, but oh well. So day 2. We're already over an hour into the game and have just passed day 1, but I guess day 1 is the longest day.
Code, fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, what a coincidence, huh?
Seriously speaking though, I'm happy to see you back here. I would have been disappointed if you ran away on us.
Hey, I enjoyed myself last time, so why wouldn't I come back here?
True enough. Feel free to make yourself at home before we start on our club activities.
Thanks, will do. Well, I'm back at the literature club. Sayori and I were the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out.
Oh, Code, I am glad to see you here again.
Who knew that something so simple would warrant so much thanks? First Monica, and now Yuri.
I know that it may be overwhelming to be thrown into a new hobby so suddenly, much less an organization centered around that hobby. So don't hesitate to let me know if you ever need any help. Or any other club members for that matter. That is to say, feel free to ask any of us for assistance.
Right, thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Don't worry though, it's not like I never read anything before. I even remember to write a poem for today, if you'll believe it.
We'll believe it when we see it.
Hey, it's not like I need to have a university degree to write a poem. It was just like another school assignment. Although it might be a little new to me, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard to write a poem, you mean?
She's got me there. That's why I never said I wrote a good. And that's why I never said I wrote a good poem. Actually, hang on, let me just... History. I misread that, didn't I? There, yeah, I missed a word. Sorry. It's not that hard to write a bad poem, you mean? That's why I said I never wrote a good poem. Natsuki smirks at me, seemingly pleased that I'm not offended by her teasing.
Well, good is often subjective when it comes to subjects like these. I'm sure you did fine, Code.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. Try not to overhype my work, though.
Yeah, Yuri, if you keep your expectations low, you'll never be disappointed. Besides, I bet this is the first extracurricular Code's done since high school started. So extra work is probably really foreign to him.
Again, she's not wrong, but she doesn't have to say it like that.
Natsuki, you're being unfairly harsh. Code, what would you say your main hobbies are?
Wow, she's really putting me on the spot here. I know I'm playing into your teasing right now, but yes, I spend a lot of my time playing games and watching anime.
And that's all you need to know. That's a bit harsh coming from someone who keeps a manga collection in the club room. What?
Natsuki splutters to a halt. Looks like a certain someone knows how to dish it out, but can't take it.
Manga is literature!
Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat.
Don't worry, guys. God always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He's always been there when I needed it. When we were kids, he'd always be around to help me with stuff.
Oh, are you two childhood friends? I glance at Sayori. Despite her cheery recollection of our childhood memories just then, Yuri's question is also a reminder that we haven't spent much time together in a long time. It's a tad awkward. There we go. Yeah, we've known each other for a while, haven't we? We smile at each other. I'm really hoping we can use the club to reconnect.
Such a history with one another. I imagine you've shared much together.
You could say that. Would you believe Sayori is still as clumsy now as she was 10 years ago?
Huh? Meanie, that's not true.
Oh? Need I tell Yuri about the time you tried to cook lunch and almost set your house on fire? Her face turns pink and she rushes to interrupt me.
Anyway, I'm sure you two could be just as good of friends. After all, you're both in the literature club now.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Yuri looks hopeful at hearing this, although I can't help but wonder, given the maturity and intelligence she carries so elegantly, and how her passion for reading is much stronger than my own, will it be as easy as Sayori thinks it is? Still, it's worth a try at least.
Yay! Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know?
What is it? I already have the book. What did she bring this time? I already have the book. Did she bring me my own copy or something? Huh? Me? Oh wait, I didn't read her line.
Sayori?
Me?
It's not much really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing.
Whatever it is, I'm sure I like it. What is it, Yuri?
Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. I was going to wait to give it to you at the appropriate time, but... I'm sorry, Yuri, I wasn't thinking. Now I've ruined the surprise.
The two girls both look dolefully down. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue the situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So, this is still a pleasant surprise to me. Just knowing that you went through the effort to get me something makes me feel really welcomed. No matter what, I'm sure it'll make me happy.
Is that so?
Of course. Thanks for being so considerate, Yuri.
You're welcome. It was the least I could do. Anyway, if that's the case, here it is.
Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. Isn't this the book from yesterday? Upon seeing the confused look on my face, she hastens to explain.
I thought you might like it. I thought you might like to have your own copy so that you can read it your own. Read it on your own as well.
I honestly don't know what to say. How is it that she's only known me for a day, yet she's already done something this thoughtful for me? Yuri, thank you. That's really thoughtful of you, but you didn't have to do that for me. I feel kind of bad.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean for that. I just I understand if you don't want to read with me anymore, so...
Honestly, she just gets more adorable by the minute, which is the main reason why I decided to go for her route. Please, it's fine. I'd love to read it with you. I just wasn't expecting you to buy me a copy of my own.
Are you sure? I don't want to force you.
Seriously, Yuri, I'm sure. After all, I grin at her. It is a good book. Also, one more reason why I'm getting more comfortable with the Yuri route is because I'm getting more comfortable with her voice. I feel like her voice is one of the easier ones for me to do right now. Then again, I'm sure it's still just as cringy as any other voice I'm doing. She timidly returns my smile, relaxing a little bit.
I'm glad you seem to think so. How are you liking it so far?
She looks at me with wide expectant eyes. She must be really worried that I'm not enjoying it as much as her. To be honest, I've been pleasantly surprised. While horror isn't really my thing, it really kept my attention. Even though I haven't gotten very far yet, I find myself feeling sorry for the protagonist. The language is pretty engaging. It certainly makes me think about it. As I praise the book, her face grows visibly more relieved, and her eyes light up as I mention the language.
I'm glad you think so. One not only needs to look at what is being said, but how it's phrased. It can entirely change the desired message, wouldn't you agree?
Oh boy, I hope I don't get into an in-depth discussion about the language. I'm still nowhere near Yuri's level with this sort of thing. Oh, totally. I never really thought about it until you brought it up with me, but you really made me look at it with a bit more scrutiny than I would normally. She blushes at this, turning away slightly.
Really? I helped you with that?
I have to admit, you really managed to open my eyes to this sort of thing. Or should I say, my third eye. Yuri's silence makes me nervous. Did I make a mistake? You know, because the book mentions the third eye, and there's an eye on the cover. Oh god, once you explain a joke, it just gets worse. Don't start explaining the joke.
Ah, I see.
Probably best not to comment on her accidental continuation of the pun. Oh, I see. I didn't even notice that. Oh god, these puns are bad. Tough crowd.
Oh, I see you were making a joke. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
No worries, I just thought it was a good pun. She smiles bashfully.
Yes, it is quite humorous, isn't it?
Phew, I think that means everything is okay now. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off the scheduled activities for the club. Like the poetry thing. I've already steeled myself for the critique I'll probably be receiving. But it seems that we have some downtime before then. Oh well, looks like I won't be able to just immediately get it over with. What are the others doing right now? Sarah and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Probably discussing club matters, given that they're the president and vice president. As expected, Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. A few huffs of annoyance sound from her direction every once in a while. There we go, I did pick correctly. I was kind of worried that I might have accidentally picked Sayori a little bit too much, but I think I did great. I'd love to talk to Yuri a bit more, especially after she gave me that book. However, she seems to be focused on her own book. I'm worried I might just distract her. She lifts it up to turn the page. I get a glimpse at the cover. It's the same book she gave me, and it looks like she's only just started it.
Ah.
Oh damn. Oh, she doesn't think I was staring at her. Our eyes meet, and her eyes start away quickly.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I didn't mean to stare, I was just spacing out a bit. That happens to me all the time.
Oh. Well, if I had been actually concentrating, I wouldn't have noticed.
I meant to ask though, isn't that the book you gave me?
Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorites, so I thought I'd give it another read through. Not for any other reason, I assure you.
I see. But why do you have two copies of the same book? She bought one for me, why am I an idiot? Then again, protagonists are always kind of dumb. Also, I know the face cam is kind of obstructing the text box a bit. I might have to move it for the next Doki stream. Like maybe the top right corner instead of the bottom. Or I might need to change its size a bit, but I'm happy with the size, so I don't really want to do that. Then again, it should hopefully be fine since I'm reading it. So, it shouldn't hopefully not cause too much trouble. But, feel free to tell me if it's annoying that my face cam is obstructing the text box, and I'll make sure to fix it for the next Doki stream. But if it's not too bad because I'm reading it, then just tell me. It's not cutting off too much as well. Just like maybe not even one entire word is cut off here.
Well, I know I lent you the book yesterday, but I figured you might feel more comfortable with your own copy. I know that I always feel more at ease when I'm handling my own belongings. If an accident happens, there's less at stake than if you damage someone else's property, so... you're probably less clumsy than I am, though. Yuri, the ever-graceful girl, thinks that she's clumsy. Nah, I'm pretty sure I'm just as clumsy as you, if not more so. Oh, right. Anyway, after our meeting adjourned yesterday, I went to the bookstore to get you... that is to say, I forgot I already had a copy and accidentally bought another, and it seemed like a waste to just hold on to it.
Couldn't you have just returned it, though?
They'd already closed, so...
There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decide to let it go. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm glad that you gave it to me. I'll get started on it right away.
That makes me happy to hear. It's the kind of story that really draws you in. If you're not careful, you can lose track of time very easily. I know I've opened it for some light reading before bed, only to close it and find out the sun's rising. I'm sure that won't happen to you, though. You'll be able to get enough sleep, as usual. That is, unless you generally find yourself lacking sleep, in which case you should go to bed earlier. But you can do whatever you want. I don't mean to overstep my bounds.
Don't worry about it, Yuri. I'll be sure to read it earlier in the day. Do you mind telling me a bit more about it?
I'd love to. Now, where do I begin?
Yuri delicately closes the book, her eyes scanning the cover.
Well, actually, I don't think I could give an adequate explanation on my own. If I were to tell you more about the story than I did yesterday, it would lose a lot of its impact. Forgive me if it sounds like I'm brushing you off. That's not what I intended.
It's alright, Yuri. Come to think of it, you did summarize it well enough yesterday. Well enough already. Same, pretty much.
Yes. I am sorry, it seems I seem to get lost in my own mind whenever I talk about these kinds of stories. Don't you have anything like that, Code?
I guess so. Yuri nods with a delicate smile.
Everyone has a deeply held interest that stirs the passion within their heart. I suppose for me it would be my novels and...
Yuri cuts herself off, as though she were about to say something she didn't mean to. Cuts herself off. Oh, I see what you did there. Because her other interest is knives. So she cut herself. Never mind, let's keep going.
Well, you know what I mean.
What got you into these sort of stories, though? I gestured toward the book in her arms. Do your parents enjoy them as well? Yuri pauses for a moment, shyly looking down at her feet. She seems to be going over what she wants to say in her head.
I've always had an interest in macabre. This genre can easily throw you for a loop. While many stories are simply content to introduce an antagonist and condition their reader to root against them, books like this one can find ways to flip that narrative on its head. So, while you might initially find yourself relating to the protagonist, you might suddenly find that they're their own worst enemy. I'm rambling, aren't I? Please forgive me. I really should try to think about others more.
Yuri, I promise I'm not mad at you. You're just passionate, which is pretty cool.
It is?
For a brief moment, a tiny smile teases the corner of Yuri's mouth.
Well, I'll try not to worry about it too much. but sometimes I get distracted when I think about books and writing. I forget where I am and start speaking my mind. So please, forgive me if I say anything unusual. And if I seem like I'm not paying attention, please let me know.
I really don't think you need to worry about that, Yuri. This is a literature club after all. Isn't that the sort of thing we should be discussing anyway?
Ah, I suppose so.
So on that note, would you like to read a bit together?
Huh? You don't need to force yourself to spend time with me if you don't want to.
But what if I do?
You'd really want to spend your time with me?
Of course, Yuri. Book in hand, I slide into the decks next to Yuri. Is everything okay?
Yes. I'm terribly sorry, Code. I'm just not accustomed to reading in company. It's usually been a solitary affair for me, you see.
Yeah, I can understand how this might seem a bit unsettling for you. If it gets too overwhelming, let me know. I won't be offended if you need some space.
Alright.
I open up the book, allowing the hardcover to flop against the desk. As I read through the prologue, I notice Yuri glancing over at my book. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't comforting. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't comforting in a way, but it's somewhat distracting.
I'm sorry. I hope I was distracting you.
Yuri, why do you apologize all the time? You've really done nothing wrong.
Do I? I can't help it, I suppose. It's like an involuntary reflex. If I preemptively apologize, it'll lessen both my disappointment in myself as well as others' disapproval of me. I didn't mean to make things so awkward. Sorry. I mean...
It's okay. Don't worry about it. How about we do this? I push our two desks together and slide my book between the two of them.
I suppose that'll work.
Yuri puts her own copy away and shifts a bit closer to me. I steady the right side of the book between my thumb and forefinger, and Yuri does the same with the other side. Perfect. Now we can both go through it at the same pace.
Yes.
The two of us are huddled closely together over the book, carefully reading it. I can see Yuri's gentle face in my peripheral vision. She has a stern, focused expression, her eyes slowly scanning each page.
Do you need a bit more time with the page?
Sorry, I guess I'm not really too quick of a reader. I look over and our gazes meet. There's a coy sparkling to her eyes.
It's quite alright, Code. You can go at whatever pace you're comfortable with. After all, you've been so patient with me today. It'd only be fair of me to return the favor, wouldn't it?
Thanks, I'll try not to take too long. The two of us continue reading in relative silence. Even though we're so quiet, each turn of the page feels as though we're connected. As I let go of the page, gently floats over to her and she delicately slides it under her thumb.
Code?
Having been absorbed by the story, Yuri reels me back in.
Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you.
It's fine. What were you going to say?
Well, I suppose I just wanted to thank you for this. I had always hoped I could find someone to share my interest in books with. I've never really had anyone read with me before. Having someone else be there is nice.
Really? I would have thought you'd at least done some reading with your family.
Yes, well, I did when I was younger, but...
She trails off, not finishing the thought. I decide not to press her further on it right now. Yuri takes a slow, deep breath.
I'm just happy that you're here for me. I mean, with me.
Don't need to correct yourself. It was fine before. But I am here for you. Unless my character says something very stupid right now.
Not that I wouldn't want you to be there for me or anything, but... I can't believe I messed things up again.
Wait, Yuri. I don't think you've done anything wrong. If anything, I think of that as a compliment.
You do?
Sure. If I'm being honest, I enjoy your company as well.
Okay, everyone.
So, right now Monica is just higher-pitched Yuri for me. Or more quiet Yuri. Which is strange because Yuri is normally the quiet type.
I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. You might not have time if we wait too long. Oh.
Yuri sighs dejectedly, looking down at the floor.
Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's nothing. It's not that. Don't worry about me. I'm alright.
Yuri lets go of the book and closes the cover, handing it back to me. We got through a fair bit today, didn't we? Do you mind if I continue a bit further on my own? Or would you prefer I only read it with you?
You don't have to limit yourself on my behalf if you want to keep reading. After all, I've already finished the story before.
Then I guess I'll continue reading a little bit tonight. Then we'll have a bit more to talk about tomorrow.
Yes, that's a good idea, Code. Just be sure to let me know if how far you get so I can avoid spoilers for you.
Alright. I skimmed through the book to find the page we left off on and fold it in slightly to mark it for later. Oh no, you're that kind of guy. Why do you fold the pages? Use a bookmark, use anything. Don't fold the pages. If you don't have a bookmark, just take anything you can stick in between the pages. Why? I'm not much of a reader myself, but even I know not to do that.
By the way, you did remember to write a poem, right?
Don't worry, I am not that much of a slacker. I've got it right here in my bag. I rifled through some stray papers to pull out the page that I wrote my poem on. While I can't help but feel a little nervous, I have to admit that I'm excited now. Talking to these girls has really calmed my nerves, and now I'm just eager to share my poem. After all, judging by each girl's personality, I doubt that anyone would say anything nasty about it. Well, Natsuki... I don't know if she'd be unduly harsh, though. She just seems like the type of person who enjoys ribbing on her friends. Either way, I hope they realize that I put hard work into it. I figured that it'd only be fair to repay their warm welcome by showing effort in club activities.
Now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait!
Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a neat, black composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. She's going to put us all to shame. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. Naturally, since we wrote the Yuri poem, we should start off with Yuri, shouldn't we? I mean, that makes most sense. So let's see what Yuri has to say. She seems the most experienced, so I should start with her. Yes, for that reason. No other reason, just that reason. I can trust her opinion to be fair. Yuri's eyes seem to sparkle as she reads my poem.
My goodness, this is unparalleled.
I think that might be a bit much.
Oh, forgive me if that didn't sound sincere.
Yuri's fist covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. Yuri first covers, not her fist, she first covers her... anyway. Don't sweat it, Yuri. I just wasn't expecting to hear such a compliment from you already.
I see.
Yuri clears her throat.
Well, I just wanted to say, this is truly an impeccable poem.
Yuri glances down back at my poem.
So, I assume this isn't your first piece. Am I correct? Your composition incorporated a lot of beautiful poetic devices and imagery indicative of an experienced writer.
Well, I hate to disappoint, but this is kind of my first time doing this sort of thing.
You're joking, right?
I shake my head. If I ended up writing a good poem, it's totally coincidental, I'm afraid.
I see. Well, in that case, I think you've got a wonderful gift. Although, if you would like, I could offer you some advice for your future poems.
Yuri's eyes light up as though she's been looking forward to this. Please do. I need all the help I can get.
I've just noticed a few qualities consistent with newer writers that showed up in your poem. Perhaps what stands out most in your poem is that you've tried very hard to make the structure of this poem your own. And that's okay, but if this is the first poem you've written, it might be prudent to consider more traditional structures, couplets, sonnets, haiku and the like. If you're not confident in your writing style, I'll show in your piece. It'll show in your piece. It's like Yuri is a totally different person when she gets going. She sounds incredibly confident and stands tall, speaking clearly, unlike me when I voice her. Again, that's not your fault. I think that once you've studied poetic structures and techniques a bit more, you'll be able to put together a truly wonderful composition.
I appreciate the feedback, Yuri. It sounds like you're well versed in this sort of thing. Would it be okay if I took a look at what you've written?
Oh goodness, of course.
Oh, I'm curious, did they make new poems or is it the same ones?
Please, let me know what you think. I'd be thrilled to explain my process.
Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? This is a new poem. Okay, I see it. Tumble. Hail falls... Should I read it in Yuri's voice? No, I'm not gonna do that. Hail falls down like discarded dust of overused emotions, dragging down blankets made of want. Slender string pieces of eyelids, barely painful, and pulls them shut. Even so heavy, even so heavy. Ever so heavy, ever so heavy. I think I've misplaced something. Is there a piece missing? You need all the pieces to fix something. Please don't look for it. There are more important things for you to do today. Okay.
I'm sorry if my writing's a bit illegible.
Just slightly. It's not that bad.
Once my pen touches the page, I just want to get my thoughts down.
It's fine, Yuri. I was able to read it just fine. I wasn't thinking that at all.
Are you sure? It seemed to take you a while to read.
Well, I guess I don't see cursive often. But it's really nice when I do. Your writing's actually quite pretty.
Is that so? I'm glad you think so.
It made your poem stand out even more as well. It's as though your handwriting fits your word choice or vice versa.
It wasn't too short, was it? I'm used to writing longer pieces, but since this is the first time we're sharing, I thought it would be easier to share.
That makes sense. Do you mind telling me what it's about, though? I'm not sure I understand.
Sorry, I didn't mean to write something confusing.
Oh, it's not that. I just want to be sure I'm reading it properly.
I see. I suppose from a cursory glance, it might not be obvious. But part of what makes poetry magical is how you conjure up a vivid image with your words. I just realized the one downside I have since I chose Yuri's path. I'm gonna encounter a bunch of big words. Not big as in long, but big as in very highbrow, very rarely used words. That's gonna happen. I can already feel it. While on the surface it might seem a bit out there, if you look a little deeper, you might be able to find a deeper meaning hidden amongst the lines, compounded by the metaphors used. For example, the words and images in this poem aren't meant to be taken at face value. In actuality, it's supposed to represent the last remnants of something lost to the past, and a sense of plaintive longing that comes with it. Huh, that's pretty impressive when you put it that way. You really think so? That might be a bit much, Code. No, I really mean it. I think I could learn something from your poetry, Yuri. Really? Yeah, of course. You know, at first the prospect of sharing my writing was terrifying, but I'm really glad I was able to do it. Hopefully I can write another piece that you'll like, Code. I'll look forward to it, Yuri. So, how about we go with the one who'll hate my poem the most out of everyone? Most logical choice, Natsuki. Let's see how much he's gonna hate it. Code, if you're actually not gonna try, then you're better off just leaving the club. Jeez, you don't beat around the bush, do you? Why should I? This is just plain bad. Hey, do I look like a writer? This was my very first poem ever. Yeah, it's probably garbage, but I still tried. If you're so confident, let's see the first poem you wrote, huh? Hard to think about? Fine. I'm, sorry if you were offended. Way to avoid a direct apology. But next time, at least try a little bit harder. Nowhere to go but up, hey? Nowhere to go but up, eh? Yeah, sure, whatever. Just read my poem. Knowing you, you'll probably hate it. Sometimes. Some folks are winners, some only lose. Some are go-getters, some only cruise. Sometimes we try hard and give it our all. Sometimes we give up, but what else can we do? Just like in the original game, in the first poem, she made the rhyme fall flat at the end. But it's still a different poem. Interesting, so they keep kind of the general feel to the poems and what they're about, I think, but actually write a different one that expresses it similarly. Or at least expresses the same stylistic devices. Not like I know too much about that stuff, but that's just what I got out of this right now. Told you you'd hate it. Actually, I like it. What? Don't just say it's good because I'm a girl. Be honest. What? No, it has nothing to do with you being a girl. I genuinely like the poem. Really? Yeah, it's simple, but still pretty effective. Finally, someone who gets it. People in high school think poetry has to be so formal and vague. But they don't realize that simple writing is just as effective, if not more. The reader shouldn't have to search for the meaning. That's just stupid. Besides, the simpler the writing, the more emphasis on wordplay. Like, how I made most of the lines start with some. Yeah, I noticed that. Made the last couplet seem more powerful. Yes, that's exactly what I was going for. Well, good job then. Didn't expect that from the youngest one of the club, did ya? I have to say Natsuki's voice hurts me the most. It's probably gonna be the most cringy listening back to,
and it's the one that really messes up my throat most out of all of them. So I need to drink something. We're probably gonna call it quits after this day is over. So yeah, not getting through Act 1, I forgot how long this can take. Then again, I did kind of get off topic at some points, like I am now. Yeah, guess not. Oh, let's save Monica for last and go for Sayori. She's also gonna like it, I think, because we picked quite a few answers for her as well.
You said this was your first poem, right?
Yeah, why?
It impressed me! Especially for your first poem. Maybe this really is the place for you.
Come on, it's not that good. I mean, it's not like I'm used to writing poems or anything. But thanks, I guess.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Code. Everyone has to start from somewhere.
I hope I... Did I change her voice over time a bit? I need to get back on track what it was like.
You're already off to a good start. Anyway, I guess I can show you mine now. Don't expect too much though, I'm not very good at this.
Only one way to find out. Is it the same one as in the original game? I think it's finally the same one. This is the first one they haven't changed, if I'm seeing this correctly. Let's read it. Anyway. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. I think the reason why they kept this is because, you know, of the whole the sky is blue and it's Doki Doki blue skies. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, what did you think?
I hesitate as I answer. It's not that it was a bad poem, in fact it was great. I am just really inexperienced with poetry, especially feedback. It's really... you.
What's that supposed to mean?
As in, the poem just really reminds me of you. It made me feel really good inside.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect, as this is my first time reading your poetry. But the way this was written, I don't know. It feels really wholesome and cheery. Like you are. I also really like the last line. Trust you of all people to include breakfast in their poems.
Hey, I was eating when I wrote.
Sayori stopped speaking immediately, as if she's accidentally let something slip.
Oh, so you wrote this poem this morning. Huh? No. Well, maybe. I forgot to write it last night.
Well, at least we know where your inspiration comes from.
Eggs and toast.
Oh, I suppose if it sounds silly but it works, then it isn't silly. Either way, thanks for showing me your poem, Sayori. It was really good.
I'm happy you think so. Anyways, next time I won't forget. Tomorrow's poem will be even better.
I'll hold you to that. Monica?
Hi, Code.
Oh, wait.
Hi, Code. Hope you've been enjoying your time here.
Yeah, definitely. I probably sound like a broken record by now, but everyone's been really welcoming.
Well, a broken record isn't so bad when it plays something so nice.
I guess so.
Anyway, since you knew and everything, feel free to bring up any questions or concerns you might have. It's my duty as president to make sure that everything is perfect. I'd have to say that you've been...
Sorry. Somehow my voice just changed. I'd have to say that you've been doing a good job of that already. I doubt that I'll ever have anything to complain about.
Either way, I'm always open to new suggestions for the club as well. So, don't be afraid to bring things up, okay?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. She says that, but it's gonna be a bit intimidating to try to criticize Monica of all people. I really don't think that there's going to be anything I'll need to speak up about either. Now I know why she seems slightly different. In the original game, her sprite was always facing the camera directly. But now she's turned slightly to the side like every other character. That's why the sprites seemed a little bit off and I didn't recognize them. Oh, how did I not notice that? Oh gosh, I'm an idiot. One of the other girls would probably say something before I ever needed to. Natsuki definitely would.
Now that that's out of the way. Feel like sharing your poem with me?
I mean, I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I?
You shouldn't be thinking like that.
Yeah, I was just joking. Kinda.
It's alright, Code. I get that it's probably really awkward for you to share a creative work when you're just a beginner. Especially since the rest of us have a bit more experience than you do.
That's an understatement.
Don't worry though. We're a little embarrassed today, you know. I don't think many people out there share their poetry on a regular basis. But it's the sort of thing that you get used to pretty quickly once you get it over with.
Yeah, that's true. I hand my poem over with a sigh. Don't grade me too harshly.
You'll be fine.
I watch nervously as she quickly scans through my poem.
Good work, Code.
Really? You can lay the brutal truth on me if you want.
You don't have to be so harsh on yourself. This is your first time writing poetry, isn't it?
That it is.
It usually takes a while for people to become completely comfortable with their writing. And even then, they're constantly evolving their style and changing things up.
I guess that's true. Either way, you shouldn't have high expectations for me. If you don't, my poems will seem better when I actually put in some effort anyway. I mutter that line half-jokingly to myself, but it seems like Monica still picked up on it.
Code. That's not very fair. More importantly though, you should have faith in yourself.
Sorry.
Anyway, about your poem, the subject was deeper than I expected out of you.
You just don't understand the troubled genius of my angst-ridden mind. Great line.
That might have been so. I guess we have two troubled and angsty genius in this club then.
You're talking about Yuri, right?
He wrote in a style very similar to Yuri's. Her writing is full of imagery and symbolism. Also, Yuri and Natsuki like to use simple and direct words to communicate their messages. Yuri likes to use complex diction and syntax to allow readers to derive their own meanings out of it. In other words, her vocabulary and sentence structure are usually quite involved.
Huh. Yeah, that sounds like her, alright.
It might be a bit tough to understand her writing at first, but what seems opaque actually has very deep meanings behind it.
Yeah, the themes of Yuri's poems were definitely hard to even figure out. She sounds like the sort of person an English teacher would love.
Don't worry, Code. So you just give her writing a few... Don't worry, Code. If you just give her writing a few read thoughts...
Read thoughts? Read thoughts?
I'm sure you'll find that they're far from incomprehensible.
If you say so. I should that my writing is similar to hers. I think it's an understatement to say that I am nowhere near her level yet.
Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learning by trying new things.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up doing a lot of different things before I settle on my own style. And it'll still take a while before I'm completely comfortable sharing my writing.
That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'd probably be more surprised if you immediately started writing with your with your own style. Most people go through the same process that you're going through right now. Trying new things is the best way to find the kind of style that suits you after all. Anyway, when you talk to everyone about it, naturally, they'll be a bit biased towards their own kind of styles. After all, I know I am. But don't force yourself to write in some way, just because someone else wants you to. You should try to focus on what you want to do. Feel free to ask me for help anytime, though.
Oh god. Sorry.
I try to be as objective as possible when I talk to people about these topics.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know.
Always on duty as club president, eh? Oh, let's get to reading then. The box. Let's see. I see. I just started it off with let's see what the poem is, and the first line is I see. Alright, sure, why not? I see, but I don't believe. A lone fingerprint, glistening on gleaming glass. Was it me? Was I always the one in the dark? I'll pound on the glass. My prison. Why? Why me? The pain jolts me back. The understanding pouring down like heavy rain. It's all a farce. My heart's on display. My life's but a script, just playing away. The world out there had seemed so bright. It was so free. So many choices, so much potential. Maybe I could have had a chance. I realize now that there was never a choice. I was stuck in this box, and they, on the other side, chose for me. Okay, so I can definitely still see the fourth wall breaks coming through from Monica here. But it's not as bad as it... it definitely is a bit different. So in the original she was talking about looking out and not looking in, meaning that she was kind of aware she was in the game, and now that's like me on the outside making the choices. That's the topic in this poem. Interesting.
So, what do you think?
I don't quite know what to say. So I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback.
It's okay.
I definitely get a certain kind of feeling from reading your poem, but I'm not sure how to put it into words.
I can understand that. Just try to articulate it however you want. You can use metaphors outside of poetry, you know.
Oh, and when you put it like that, I don't know. I'd say that your poem is kind of abstract. Very vague, at least. Like, I can't quite tell what exactly you're talking about, but even so I feel what the speaker's feeling.
Yeah, I think that describes your poem. I think that describes my poem pretty well.
Oh, really?
I do like my metaphors. Well, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a poem without a metaphor, actually.
Yeah, they're pretty well covered in English class, at least.
The ability to convey emotions and concepts through words, describing things even the writer might never have experienced before. I find that really powerful. When you write metaphorically, it allows the reader to focus on the emotions and the problem.
I guess it kind of opens it up for the reader to have their own interpretations. Hang on a second. I noticed once again that actually having a stream dedicated to a visual novel is a lot more tiring on my voice than any of my other streams, which kind of points out the fact that I'm not talking as much as I could during those streams. So once again, let's get back into it.
Exactly. It's fascinating when people can diverge from the creator's original intent to find their own meaning in a work of art.
Yeah. What was your original intent then?
I think it'd be more fun if you try to figure it out yourself.
Huh? That just makes me more curious now.
Maybe I'll tell you one day. But for now, here's Monica's writing tip of the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Alright, I see. Same tip as before.
Sometimes when you're writing a poem, or anything for that matter, you get too fixated on a specific point. But if you try so hard to make it perfect, you'll never make any progress. So the best thing to do is to just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and write whatever's in your heart.
Easier said than done. I get what she's trying to say though. It's better to look back on your work with fresh eyes after you've gotten something down sometimes.
That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening.
Whew. You know, that pretty much came, that was pretty much coming from me, and at the same time I noticed that it said in the text box, it said the same thing in the text box. Yeah, after this day is over I'm definitely gonna need to take a break. I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was surprisingly fun, albeit a bit stressful. I already know that I wouldn't be able to write to the quality of the girls, but I tried my best. Everyone here is incredibly talented. Well, all the girls at least. Across the room, Sayori and Monika are happily chatting again. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As I watch, Natsuki breezes through Yuri's poem, her eyes skipping over the words. Meanwhile, Yuri stares at the poem in her hand, smiling sadly. It's about to happen, and I'm not gonna be neutral, I'm gonna choose Yuri's side. Absolutely. Natsuki quickly hands Yuri her poem back.
Here, I'm done. Already? Yeah, it's not like it was super hard to read. I'm not illiterate, you know.
Huh? It was hard for me to understand at least.
I just want to make sure that you caught all the figurative language that I employed. Yeah, I did. It was fancy. Thanks. However, I believe that you enjoyed it more if you look deeper into it. I enjoyed it plenty already. Anyway, are you finished with my poem then? Yes, yours is cute. Cute? Didn't you learn anything from our conversation yesterday?
Yuri looks shocked, regret seeping into her expression. Seems like both girls still hold their own prejudices despite whatever common ground they have.
How can it be cute? You're standing there thinking I haven't read your poem when it's really you who hasn't read my poem. It's clearly about the push and pull between giving up and trying hard. I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. Or maybe you should look deeper into my poem. Because I use that type of language on purpose. I see. But if I may give a suggestion, these more involved subject matters may be better suited to more complex diction. The art of poetry is deeply intertwined with... Look, I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work on me. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand. This kind of thing only works on amateurs like Code.
Wow, thank you. Ouch. I don't like where this conversation is headed.
Writing in this way doesn't make you look cool or smart, okay? This makes you look super pretentious. If you write with If you ride with the thesaurus open next to you, you're just going to alienate everyone. Using all these big words to make up for a lack of depth. Poetry isn't about impressing people. So you can just stop.
Holy crap. I stare wide-eyed at Monica and Sayori, who have now also fallen silent. They stare back at me, looking unsure of what to do. I'm guessing that they don't usually have many arguments in the club, although tensions between Natsuki and Yuri have seemed kind of high.
Lack of depth? Yeah, that's right. So if I can give some suggestions now? Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I really must ask. What makes you believe that I'll accept your advice after you've been so rude to me? Huh? Rude? That was just blunt honesty. Do you even consider that other people don't hold the same opinions as you? What are you trying to say? Do I really need to spell it out for you? Yeah, you do. I want to see if you're really going there. The irony. I dare you to say it.
Yuri gives a small laugh of disbelief. Oh no.
I must thank you, Natsuki. I've never been this angry in my life. It's actually giving me the courage to speak up. Is this why you're angry all the time? Guys, we shouldn't. This doesn't involve you.
I don't know how I tried to combine their voices. It didn't work out.
So please don't rob me of my moment. So is this your moment to shine or something? Strange thing to take pride in, don't you think? No. It's my moment to finally speak my mind. I still have the strength to... Yuri. Natsuki, have you ever realized how selfish you are?
Suddenly, Yuri seems to be overpowering everyone else in the room.
What? Everything always needs to go your way. You always jump to conclusions and make rash decisions without regard for the consequences. And it's never your fault, is it? You don't know me? No? You don't know me either. And yet you spoke as if you knew everything about me. Quite simply, you don't. The very fact you don't think that your blunt honesty was incredibly rude just goes to show how narrow-minded you truly are.
Seizing her moment, Yuri boldly carries on, disdain dripping from each word. Oh no.
I know it must be a difficult concept for you to understand, but the whole world doesn't revolve around you and your manga. So tell me, why should I take advice from someone who can only see their own perspective? Everyone knows it. Monica, Sayori, even Code. Don't you remember how hostile you were to Code when he first joined us? I wasn't being hostile. We haven't had a new member in a long time. Sorry, not sorry for keeping on my toes. And that's how I talk to everyone, not just Code. Am I supposed to change my whole personality to cater to how you think I should be? If Code has a problem with my jokes, he can tell me. You don't get to speak for him.
Yuri closes her eyes, shakes her head, carrying on as if she didn't hear that outburst. Oh no, why is this happening? I feel like this is potentially even worse than in the... I mean, maybe if it feels worse because it's more... Well, because they're saying something different, and I already know what they said in the original, so I feel like this adds on to what I already know of their conflict, so that's why it feels worse. Do you really expect a new member to be able to speak up so easily? But everyone is unafraid of being a brutish cretin as you. What? The rest of us were so excited to have a new member, but did that thought ever cross your mind?
No, you just let your own selfish thoughts dictate your behavior. Selfish? They weren't You could have scared him off. That might have been what you wanted. But what about the rest of us? I just explained myself, for God's sake. But as per usual, you aren't listening. You know, for someone who's been ranting on about how narrow-minded I am, you're pretty intolerant yourself. There, I used a big word. Do I sound like a Shakespeare yet? Am I worthy of your attention now? Ouch. Both girls really have their claws out. Also, Monika and Sayori didn't have any issue with me yesterday. It's just you. Of course they did, Natsuki. They just didn't say anything. Monika's too responsible, and Sayori's too kind. So why don't we ask Code then? As the more unbiased spectator. Fine! Code, who's right? Me or Yuri? Alright, no, I don't want to agree with the fact that I feel insulted. That's not what I want to agree with. How did I get dragged into this in the first place? I don't even know what they want me to decide on at this point. Should I just ignore all the personal stuff and just talk about their poetry? That had started the argument after all. But it's not like I'm a good judge of writing quality, even if I am just a given that I'm just a beginner. You know, I want to agree with Yuri, but that makes it sound like I'm offended by Natsuki, and it's not like I hate Natsuki. Because what Yuri said is just that I'm actually offended by her behavior, which, as we know, I am not. That is, as she explained, just how she acts. But I also don't want to agree with Natsuki because I want to go on the Yuri route. So I think I might need to choose the neutral option here, which is Sayori, right? I don't think it would be fair of me to take either side. I don't think it would be fair of me to take either side either, especially since I'm new here. Maybe I should defer to one of the club's leaders. Oh, thank you, I don't need to choose. And by the way, in this case, I'm going with Monika. Because, now this might seem strange, but I actually like Monika. Despite what she did in the story. She did take it too far, but I still appreciate her. Best girl has always been a struggle for me in between Yuri and Monika, by the way. But of all the girls you can actually choose to go for, Yuri is definitely number one. And now, while this might seem sad, Sayori is last place for me. Go ahead, everyone who's offended, please be offended now, but Sayori is my least favorite of these girls. I still like her, okay? I still like her a lot. I still really enjoy her. But out of all these four, she's my least favorite option. Now don't... As I've said, that doesn't mean I don't like her. I do enjoy her, but the others are just even better. So Monika, I need help. Even though Sayori would probably be better, but Monika is the club president, so she has absolute authority here. I honestly don't know what to do in this situation. I quickly glance over to Monika. Monika nods at me and approaches the two girls. Yuri and Natsuki. This is... She clears her throat. Is it just me, or did her confident persona seem to waver a bit? This is no way to act in our club. Monika does seem sort of disoriented. She's probably not used to such confrontation. You're kind of seeing a bad example. You're kind of setting a bad example. Code's probably really uncomfortable. Not to mention that there's really no reason for this argument to be happening. But Monika! No! I can't have this in the club. Are you kidding me? Don't you see how Yuri's treating me? She's being a massive jerk right now. There's so much reason for this argument. Excuse me, Natsuki, but it's really your own toxic behavior that led to this. Yuri really emphasized that toxic bit. Toxic behavior? What are you talking about? Are you even listening to yourself? That's exactly why no one wants to be your... Enough! That's new facial anime. That's a new sprite for her face as well, I think. Monika seems to have gotten over herself and now looks livid. You guys are supposed to be friends, aren't you? It's so foolish how you two are acting. Don't you have any consideration for the other club members? You're even making Code uncomfortable. Yuri, didn't you say that you wanted to make him feel as welcome as possible? What happened to that? I didn't mean to make him feel that way. And don't forget Sayori. She always acts in everyone's best interests. Why are you to act like this? I wasn't trying to do anything either. I'm just being honest. Yuri is... Let me finish, Natsuki. I would ask you to please reconsider the way you are treating one another. You guys are obviously talented with your writing skills, and you both have unique aspects to your writing styles. That's what makes you guys special. To be fair, I'm obviously not good with handling situations like this, but... There's a sudden pause for a minute, and I decide to break the silence. I agree with Monika. Fighting will only cause everyone to split apart, and to be honest, I really like it here. And I believe if there's any resentment held over it... and I believe if there's any resentment held over, it just won't be the same. Alright. Both girls are speechless. Yuri is first to speak. I'm just going to make tea. Natsuki remains silent and takes a seat, only to stare into nothingness. I slide next to Sayori. Man, I can see why she's president. Yeah, she is pretty great. Even though she doubts herself, I think she handled that pretty well. Monika seems like such a genuine sweet girl. Hopefully I'll be able to properly get to know her during the school year. You won't, not as much as the other girls, because she doesn't have her own separate route. Okay everyone, it's just about time for us to leave. How do you all feel about sharing your poetry? I noticed that she carefully avoids mentioning the argument that just occurred. It was a lot of fun! Some moments were worth it. It was alright. Well, mostly. Code, how about you? I actually really enjoyed myself. It seems I do like expressing myself through poetry a lot more than I initially thought. Everyone looks intently at me. The girl's smiling at me. It was really cool getting to see everyone's different writing styles. That's awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And hopefully, learn something from us too. So your poems will turn out even better. Yeah. I think to myself a bit as I begin to pack up. Today, I managed to learn a little bit more about the kinds of poems that everyone likes. With any luck, I'll be able to learn more about the girls as individuals through their themes and messages. I nod to myself, turning to Sayori. Hey Sayori, ready to walk home? Sure. Okay, see you guys tomorrow then. As we leave the club room, Sayori turns back to wave at the girls. I do the same. Natsuki smiles, then quickly looks away to act like she doesn't care. Yuri awkwardly smiles and nods. And as expected from the school idol, Monika gives a friendly grin and waves back. Sayori, about what happened earlier? Huh? What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki. I remember you told me yesterday that they sometimes bicker, but are all their arguments normally that bad? I feel a little guilty as I ask her, as I know she doesn't like talking about conflict. There's a slight dip in the cheeriness of her voice as she replies. No, not at all. They have their differences, but it's the first time I've ever seen them fight like that. They're both wonderful people, I promise. You don't hate them or anything, do you? Oh, not at all. It's only normal for people to argue, I guess. I was just curious. After all, you know them better than I do. Sarah lets out a relieved sigh. You know, Code, it's been so nice seeing you again. I didn't really think we'd get to spend much time with one another again.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's been really fun hanging out again. I don't really know when we started drifting or why. I guess it was just life coming between us. She nods, looking a little relieved, reflective. So, I'm glad you let me join your club. I'm not going to lie, at first I was a bit doubtful when you told me it was about literature. But hey, I guess it just goes to show that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. She giggles and I frown. Did I say something funny? Absolutely not, that was a horrible pun and we won't ever talk about this.
Nice pun. Did you even realize?
Huh? Pun? Ah, you mean about the book comment? Oh. And this is a literature club. Jeez, looks like the club's really starting to rub off on me, isn't it? Sari might be known as a bit of an airhead, but sometimes she can really notice things that others don't. I wonder, what's it really like inside her head? Oh, you don't wanna know, trust me. Or maybe you do and help her, do wanna know and help her, but, well, that's a different story.
Ah, you haven't changed at all, Code. You always knew how to make me laugh.
I blush slightly. I've never really known how to react to that compliment, especially when it comes from someone of the opposite sex. I'm glad I'm still able to do that. I'll be honest though, I didn't think I'd make so many new friends by joining the club.
Well, they're a really nice bunch, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, a pretty warm welcome. She nods contently. Anyway, let's see what the future holds. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
These girls are all interesting characters, aren't they? Different personalities and a variety of writing styles. Yet, they're all united under the same club. I briefly wonder how Monika found all of them. In just 2 days, I feel like I've made progress with each member. Getting to know Yuri and Natsuki, actually getting to talk to Monika a little bit, and of course, reuniting with an old friend. I never would have guessed this would all come from joining the club, but hey, I'm not complaining. Let's just hope my writing improves over time so I can write poems to a standard more like theirs. Speaking of which, there's work to be done tonight. Let's do this. Hooray. But, let me just save. There we go. This is where I'm gonna end it. As I've said, after this day is over, I'm gonna end it. So next time we're gonna probably get through day 3 and 4. And I'm not sure when Act 1 finishes. I believe that might be it. I believe we might be able to finish Act 1 next time. Did I say tomorrow before? Next time we might be able to finish Act 1. Well, either next time or the time after that. So yeah, I'm hyped. So far, it seems pretty much like the original with some slight changes. But it definitely adds a little bit more to the characters, I have to admit. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna end the stream. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!